الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله محمد وآله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سبحان الذي أسرى بعبده ليلا من المسجد الحرام إلى المسجد الأقصى الذي باركنا حوله لنريه من آياتنا إنه هو السميع البصير آمنت بالله صدق الله العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الكريم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا ومولانا محمد وبارك وسلم عليه. All praises are for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the creator, controller of this entire universe and cosmos. And may the choicest blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be upon our Nabi, Nabiullah, Habibullah, Sarkar Medina, Ruh Hasina, Nabi Kareem, Raufur Rahim, Rahmatan lil Alameen, Sayyidul Mursaleen, Khatam al Nabiyyin, Imamul Anbiya, Ahmad Mujtaba, Muhammad Arbi, Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sahbihi wa barik wa sallim. Alhamdulillah ta'ala, today we are fortunate and to be gathered in the house of Allah Rabbul Alameen to remember him and his beloved sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. I have been requested to speak about the Israa wal Miraj and Miraj Mustafa sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. But before I do so, I wish to set one ground rule into place. Just set one ground rule into place, inshallah Aziz. And that is this, that when it comes to human comprehension, human intelligence, we measure understanding, things come into our knowledge based upon certain faculties. And those faculties consist of the faculty of vision, the faculty of hearing, the faculty of being able to smell, taste and touch. These things are known as the five senses. The five senses. If we perceive something, it comes into our knowledge, it comes into our understanding, okay? It comes within our remit. However, there are some things which are beyond the five senses of man. There are some things which are beyond the five senses of man. Here, within this universe, there is zaman, there is makan. There is time and there is place. Every man, every jinn, every angel, every human, every part of creation has been within the confines of this universe. And the code of this universe is zaman wa makan, time and place. But what we are going to talk about today, the journey of Al-Mi'raj, the journey which took place from Masjid al-Aqsa and beyond, the celestial journey which went in the vertical form to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, we talk about makan. the Prophet entered a place called La Makan. There was no Makan there. The Prophet ﷺ entered the place of no place. Which means we must understand from the very outset, where there is no Zaman or Makan, we must appreciate that our intellect cannot perceive nor understand the journey of Al-Mi'raj. We must understand this from the outset. This isn't a matter of the Aql. This isn't the matter of the mind. This is to do with the matter of the heart. ये दिल की बात है, अकल की बात नहीं है. ये दिल की बात है. And those hearts will truly understand Al-Mi'raj, that are connected with Muhammad Rasulullah. That are connected with Muhammad Rasulullah. This is the first thing that I say. I'm not just saying this out of pyar and muhabbat. This is Aqeeda, this is reality. We must accept this, that the Al-Mi'raj is beyond the human comprehension. It is beyond the human capability and understanding. And that's why it is a matter of the heart, and it is a matter of reliance, and it's a matter of tasdeeq on the words of Muhammad Arabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The words of Muhammad Arabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allah Rabbul Alameen sets the scene in the Quran, and He says, تِلْكَ الرُّسُلُ فَضَّلْنَا بَعْضَهُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ مِّنْهُمْ مَنْ كَلَّمَ اللَّهُ وَرَفَعَ بَعْضَهُمْ Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that from His Rusuls, from His great prophets, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created, He said, تِلْكَ الرُّسُلُ فَضَّلْنَا بَعْضَهُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ. He said, from the messengers Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created, He created them stations, different stations, one above the other. Different stations. Some had maqam, one above the other. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is confirming this in the Quran Kareem. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, He says, مِنْهُمْ مَنْ كَلَّمَ اللَّهُ. And from amongst them, there were some who spoke to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. مِنْهُمْ مَنْ كَلَّمَ اللَّهُ وَرَفَعَ بَعْدَهُمْ دَرَجَاتٍ. There were some who spoke to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala itni shanti. Kuch nabiyon ki. There were some who spoke to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and there were some who Allah elevated in every single respect. Now tell me, speaking to Allah, minhum man kallam Allah, Allah is talking, who spoke to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Hazrat Musa Kalimullah alayhi salam. Minhum man kallam Allah is talking about Musa Kalimullah alayhi salam. Allah is talking about, He's indicating towards Hazrat Musa Kalimullah alayhi salam. And then He says, minhum man kallam Allah. Then He says, وَرَفَعَ بَعْدَهُمْ دَرَجَاتٍ. And then there was those who we raised in every single respect. Now tell me something. There's those who spoke to Allah. Musa Kalimullah, he spoke to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Which darja is there after speaking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? What greater maqam is there than speaking to Allah? Seeing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then there was those who He elevated in every single respect. Now we know that this vision and seeing of Allah, this was reserved for Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This was reserved for Muhammad Arabi sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam. Today, I want to speak about a different perspective of Miraj-e-Pak. Perhaps you haven't heard about this perspective before. I can tell you, I certainly haven't heard this on the stages before. But it is definitely an aspect of the Miraj of Mustafa sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. Now I'll tell you this, that the Miraj was indeed one of the greatest miracles that ever happened in the life of Muhammad Arabi sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. Amongst the greatest miracles was this of Miraj of Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The whole thing, Al-Israa wal-Miraj. But then there is a different element to it, which we know from even hadith, that the Mi'raj, the journey of the Prophet ﷺ, when the Prophet ﷺ returned, this was also a big test and a trial, not only for Hazur ﷺ, but also for the people who followed and the people who were Muslims. The Muslims of that time, this was a great trial for them. Why? Because the Prophet ﷺ, he returns and he says to the people, he said, I went from Masjid al-Haram, Masjid al-Aqsa, Sidratul Muntaha, La Maqam, and I returned back in a single night. This is beyond human comprehension. This is beyond the laws of understanding. Our intellect can't appreciate this information. So, forget the kuffar in Makkah. The ulama say that even amongst the Muslims at that time, there were some people who were weak in Iman. The ulama say they were weak in Iman, even they left the fold of Islam when they heard this news. Because it's difficult to believe. Okay? Especially for the kuffar in Makkah, who don't accept Hazur alayhi salatu wasalam, for them it was difficult to believe. So many people, as a result, they left the fold of Islam. It was a great azmaish for the Muslims. It was also a great test for the Muslims of that time. Now, that being said, there is also another issue, and that is that a lot of people claim that Miraj Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it wasn't a reality, it wasn't something that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did in physical form. It wasn't a hakiki journey that he went on. They say it was something which was a dream. You must have heard this. They say it was a dream. Now the Aqeeda of the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, that it was a living reality. Subhanallah. It was a haqiqat, it was a reality, it was a physical journey that the Prophet ﷺ underwent, not something which happened in a dream. It was not something which was a spiritual journey, it was a physical journey that the Prophet ﷺ went on. There's three elements of Hazur alayhi salatu wasalam. There is Nur Muhammadi, number one. There's Ruh Muhammadi, number two, and there's Bashariyat Muhammadi sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam. Hazur alayhi salatu wasalam, he went on this journey of Miraj in all three elements. Ruh Muhammadi, Nur Muhammadi, Bashariyat Muhammadi sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam. All elements. Inshallah al-Aziz, what I will try and do in this short synopsis that I will give you is give you daleel and evidence that this was not only a living, it wasn't a dream, it was a living reality of Mustafa. Because all our akabirin and the ulama and the great jurists who have come in the ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they have all said that it was a reality. However, a very small portion of people, a very small fraction have said that it wasn't a living reality, it was something which was a dream, and this is what I will try and address in this time, inshallah al-Aziz. First thing is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says in the Quran Kareem, Surah Al-Israa, He opens this verse of the Quran Kareem. He says, Subhanallazi asra bi'abdihi. He said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Paak hai wo Zaat. Paak hai wo Zaat, जिसने अपने बंदा खास को सैर कराया. सारा युसैन, Allah सैर कराया Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam ko. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, look at this verse here. Let me say something to you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying Subhan is the Paak Zaat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, free from any error, free from any imperfections, any aib, any weakness, any kamzori. Allah is saying this. Subhan, look at the word Allah used. Paak hai wo Zaat. No aib, no imperfections, there is no possibility for this, no kamzori. Paak hai wo Zaat, who caused his bandai khas, his mahboob banda, to travel on this journey of Israa wal Miraj. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying this in the Quran Kareem. This is how He opens this verse. Bi'abdihi. And then when did this happen? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Laylan. It happened during the night. In a part of a night, according to the ulama. Imam Nawawi, rahimahullah ta'ala, he says that this event happened on the 27th of Rajab. And Imam Zarqani, he also says that this is when this happened. On the 27th night of Rajab, during the night, is what the ulama say about this. Laylan, and then look what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. He says, Minal Masjidil Harami ilal Masjidil Aqsa. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that this journey, the first part of the journey was the horizontal journey. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that this happened from the sacred mosque, Masjid al-Haram, to Masjid al-Aqsa. Aqsa meaning the furthest mosque. Allah subhanahu, this is around about, according to the ulama, some 1,300 miles in distance. 12 to 1,300 miles in distance. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, now look at this. Why would Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just not say that there was Miraj Mustafa took place, Miraj Mustafa happened, and we took him on a celestial journey where he came and met us. He came to Sidratul Muntaha la Maqam. You can know. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made mention of these masjids
Subhanallah.
Masjid al-Harami then Masjid al-Aqsa. The first thing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was doing here was stamping the importance of the houses of Allah Rabbul Alameen. The importance of the houses of Allah Rabbul Alameen. There's many raz behind this. But I will tell you the main point that I want to get to. What Allah was doing, Allah was plotting points on the map. First Rasulullah went to Masjid al-Haram, then he went to Masjid al-Aqsa. Allah is painting a picture in the Quran Kareem. This was a physical journey of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This was the hakiki journey of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's why Allah has given us detail about where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam physically went to. And as Hazrat Alama Sahib said before me, this element of the journey known as Israa, which happened from Masjid al-Haram to Masjid al-Aqsa, this is a part of Asul al-Deen. This is Hadith Mutawatir. It's Hadith Mutawatir according to the ulama. Anybody who denies this, they are outside the fold of Islam. This element of the journey, Al-Isra. Mi'raj, this is also very strong and it comes in Ahad Hadith. And it's very, very difficult. You will be, as Maulana said, you will be gumrah and you will be lost if you deny this element of the journey. Anyway, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is marking coordinates on the map. And He's saying from Masjid al-Haram to Masjid al-Aqsa, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam goes. And Allah says, Barakna.
Allah.
Blessed are these lands of Masjid al-Haram. Blessed are these lands. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving, He's corroborating in the Quran Kareem the shan of these two masjids. And then, why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala take him on this amazing journey? لِنُرِيَهُ مِنْ آيَاتِنَا. He said, so we can show him our signs. So we can show him our mahbub banda, our signs. And many signs did Allah Rabbul Alameen show Hazur alayhi salatu wasalam. There's mukhtalif rawayat on this. The night journey, some ulama say that it took 23 years. Some say there's different numbers that they quote. But one thing that they say, when Hazur alayhi salatu wasalam left the confines of the universe, when he left the confines of the universe stopped. When you remove a SIM card from his phone, you can't make calls, right? When there's no charge left on the phone fails to operate. Rasulullah was the powerhouse of this dunya. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. When he left this universe, it stood still. And according to the hadith in Bukhari, Sayyidina Aisha radiallahu ta'ala narrates this, when Hazur alayhi salatu wasalam returned, his bed was still warm. The pendulum on his door was still swinging. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. After all this time, Hazur alayhi salatu wasalam, and what did the universe feel? One night. They felt that it was the fasla of one night. This journey of Hazur alayhi salatu wasalam. The Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, he goes on this journey of Al-Isra wal-Miraj. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that so we can show him our signs. Now let me tell you something. This is a verse for Shan Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allah Hazur ki shan bayan farma rahe hai na, aisi baat hai na. Allah is certifying in the Quran what happened on the night of Mi'raj. Right? Allah is certifying this in the Quran. Lekin look at the way Allah starts the verse. He says, Subhanallazi. Ye to Allah Pak ki tareef hai. पाक है वो ज़ात कसम उठाते हैं अल्लाह सुब्हानहु व तआला लेकिन देखिए पाक है वो ज़ात why did Allah start with his shan because he is talking about शान मुस्तफा सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम why did he do this ये सवाल उठता है ना लेकिन the ulama say this so when Mustafa alayhi salatu wasalam came and he told them about the night of Miraj, nobody could say that Rasulullah told us. Nobody can say that Rasulullah told us. Allah is saying that I told you on the night of Miraj. Allah is saying this. So anybody who denies the journey of Al-Isra wal-Miraj, he's not only a munkir of the Quran, but he's doing itiraz on the words of Allah. पाक है वो ज़ात जिसने अपने बंदा खास को सैर कराया. Allah is saying that I did his sैर. Allah is certifying the actions of Mahbub sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. You know, on the night of Miraj, alhamdulillah, Hazrat Pir Sahib, I believe he was saying something similar to this. That you know the Burak, the animal which was white in color according to the hadith, he was taller than or larger than a donkey but smaller than a mule. And when he came, according to Ash-Shifa of Qadi Ayaz, bi Ta'rif al-Huquq al-Mustafa, he puts a hadith in there. He says, when the Buraq came before Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and when he realized the shan of Muhammad Arabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, the narrator says that he broke out in sweat. Pasina. When he understood who Huzur alayhi salatu wasalam was. And this Buraq, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had created him in such a way, he traveled at the speed of light. The ulama say he traveled akin to the speed of light. And wala, ye dekhe, tafsir Jalalain mein, Imam Sayyuti rahmatullah alayhi farmate, they say that the speed of the Buraq, he said that the human vision, the faculty of vision, how far can it go? If we look at the sun, we can see the sun. You know, the sun, according to science, is 93 million miles away. How many million miles? 93 million miles away. How fast and strong is our vision that Allah Rabbul Alameen has given us? We can look at the sun. And Imam Sayyuti rahmatullah alayhi, he says that the power of the Buraq, the speed of the Buraq was so vast, before your eye lands on its designated area of vision, the Buraq's first foot is already there. Subhanallah. This is the power of the speed of the Buraq. Buraq comes from Barq, Bijli, means light, and it refers to his power of travel. And Hazrat Maulana was saying before me, but I'll say this because it's for those who understand English, that when the Buraq was traveling on the journey of Israa, from Masjid al-Haram to Masjid al-Aqsa, Hazur alayhi salatu wasalam, Sunan al-Nasai hadith, Sahih hadith. Hazrat Anas bin Malik radiallahu ta'ala, he's the Ravi of this hadith, he narrates the hadith. And he said when Hazur alayhi salatu wasalam was traveling from Masjid al-Haram to Masjid al-Aqsa, what did he say? He said, Musa alayhi salam, wa huwa yusalli fi qabri. He said, I seen Musa alayhi salam, he was praying in his qabr. He was praying in his grave. Hazur alayhi salatu wasalam. Now tell me something. You know, now we've got, space travel and air travel, and we can sit on planes. When we're on a plane, if we look down from the window, maybe we can't see one person. But if there was a talat of people, if there was a gathering of people, maybe we could see who the gathering is. But can we see who's in that gathering? Can we see what they're doing? We can't. Because this is mine and your vision, right? This is mine and your vision. Let me tell you about the vision of Rasulullah. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was traveling on the Buraq at the speed of light. Not only did he see Musa alayhi salam, not only did he recognize Musa alayhi salam, he knew what he was doing, he was praying in his grave. Sahih hadith. Let me tell you another thing. Would Musa alayhi salam standing on top of the earth, or would he be in his Mubarak qabr, beneath the earth? This is the limitations of mine and your vision. I'm talking about the vision and basarat of Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I'm talking about the basarat of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Imagine the power of Rasul Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then some people have the audacity to say he was a normal man like me and you. Astaghfirullah, na'udhu billah. Some people say this, don't they? This is the power of Hazrat. Let me tell you something. You know, if I go like this with my hand, you can see it, right? Your eye allows you to see this hand. If I do it faster like this, you see less of it, but you still see it, right? If I continue to increase the speed of my hand like this, and if I had that much power that I could speed it so much, eventually, my hand, if it was so fast, your eye wouldn't be able to perceive it. Aisi baat hai na? Aisi baat hai. Buraq, if he was traveling in his full speed, we couldn't see it. Tell me this, every day on earth they are finding creation, new creation that they never knew before. Science, how long have we been on this earth? Every day we're finding new creation that we've never seen before. This is the Shani Qudrat of Allah Rabbul Alameen. So let me tell you, have you ever thought about this? That Allah has created creation which is so fast, it moves so fast that our human eye can't perceive it. And maybe Allah has created creation which is so fast and it always moves that we can never see. Maybe that creation is in this room right now, but we can't see it because this is the power and the speed of its travel.
Because we have the Buraq before us.
Bisha.
What makes you think that Allah Rabbul Alameen hasn't created other creatures like this even on the earth? The shan and the power of Allah Rabbul Alameen. And Hazrat Alama Sahib was saying that he seen Hazrat Musa alayhi salatu wasalam in his qabr Mubarak, and when he arrived at Masjid al-Aqsa, all the Anbiya alayhi salatu wasalam were before him, including Hazrat Musa alayhi salatu wasalam. The Buraq was an amazing creature to us because it is way beyond our understanding and limits. But what do we know about the Nabuwwat of Musa alayhi salatu wasalam? Who can match the prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And if this is the shan of Hazrat Musa Kalimullah, imagine the shan of Imam al-Anbiya sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Imagine the shan of Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam.
नाराए तकबीर, नाराए रिसालत, नाराए हैदरी, जश्न मिराज नबी, उलमाए इकराम, जिंदाबाद.
After the night of Miraj, when Hazur alayhi salatu wasalam returned, and when he returned to the house of Hazrat Hani radiallahu ta'ala anha, and when this news got to Abu Jahl, who was the enemy, arch enemy of Rasul Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was from Kufar Makkah. When this news got to him, and when he spoke to Hazur alayhi salatu wasalam, and he told him that I went from Masjid al-Haram to Masjid al-Aqsa, Sidratul Muntaha, La Maqam, and I returned in one night, he was very happy. Abu Jahl was very happy. And you know what he said? He said, if I tell the people, will you tell them to their faces? Will you say in front of them? Rasulullah said, I will. This is haqq. This is what happened. I will tell the people. And you know when Abu Jahl seen Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala, you know what he said to Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala? He said, you know, is it possible for a man to go from Masjid al-Haram to Masjid al-Aqsa, Sidratul Muntaha, La Maqam, return back in one night? No. You know what Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala said? He said, this is not possible. He said, this is not possible. And then he said, see? He said, your Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has just made this claim. The Ravi of the Hadith is a kafir. He's a kafir, fajir, fasik, jahannami. सुनने वाले सदीक़ अकबर रज़ियल्लाहु अन्हु, जब ये बात हजूर अलैहिस्सलातु वस्सलाम के साथ मंसूब की जाती है, Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq, what is his reply? He goes, in qala sadaqa. He said, if my beloved has said it, then it is truthful.
नाराए रिसालत, नाराए तहकीक, नाराए हैदरी, मेराजे मुस्तफा, मेराजे मुस्तफा, मेराजे मुस्तफा, शान सिद्दीक अकबर, जिंदाबाद, इंशाअल्लाह, इंशाअल्लाह.
If my beloved has said it, then it is truthful. Tasdeeq karne wala Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu. Halaki, what does the Quran say? Tell me something. Is there bigger alims than Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq in the Ummah of Rasulullah? Is there bigger mufassir, muhaddis? Is there anyone greater than Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala? No. Do you think Sayyidina Abu Bakr didn't know the laws of the Quran, that when a kafir comes to you and tells you something, فَتَبَيِّنُوا, corroborate it? Do you think he didn't know this? Of course he knew this. But this is, you know, the muhaddithin, this is a lesson from Usul Hadith, which is very simply put for you. The muhaddithun say that when any maf'um, when any matan of hadith is presented to you, when it has to do with Shani Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the thumb rule taught to us by Hazur Siddiq Akbar is close your eyes and accept. Subhanallah. In qala sadaqa, daleel mat mange. Don't ask about daleel. Don't ask about proofs. Don't ask about corroborations. Why? Because Hazur Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq is telling us when it has to do with Shani Mustafa, you close your eyes and say, in qala sadaqa. In qala sadaqa. And this is a thumb rule of hadith. This isn't something I'm just making up. I'm not just saying this for Muhammad. Hazrat Imam Abu Isa Tirmidhi, rahimahullah ta'ala, he wrote a book called Shamail Tirmidhi. And it's all about the characteristics and the beauty of Muhammadur Rasulullah. You know, when he compiled that book, he didn't look for any references. Do you know why? Because it has to do with Shani Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So when somebody asks you for a daleel, when you present Shani Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam, tell them that you are not from the party of Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala. We are from the party of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, and whoever is from the party of Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala, he is from the party of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Narae Takbir, Narae Risala, Narae Haidari, Narae Ghausiyah.
Hazrat Imam Nasafi, who writes the famous book of Aqeeda and Nasafi, he says that the Mi'raj was a living reality. It happened in the wakefulness of Hazur alayhi salatu wasalam. It was not a dream. And he's a great Hanafi Imam, and this was in his book of Aqeeda, belief and theology, that he writes this. And you know something? When it came to, you know what the ulama say about this, about the night journey? They said, firstly, you know, in the verse of Surah Al-Isra wal-Miraj, the first verse that I recited, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He uses this word for Rasulullah, Abd. According to the grammarians, according to the masters of Arabic grammar, they say that this word Abd can only be used when there's a presence of the mind and the body. Mind, the soul and the body, when it's all present, then only then Allah can say Subhanallazi Asra bi abdihi. Because that's how that word is applied, that's how that word is used. When it happens as a physical, real journey, and Hazur alayhi salatu wasalam went in his formal bashariyat, in his Zahri form. Hazur alayhi salatu wasalam went. The other thing is, the ulama say, they say, if it wasn't a real journey, if it wasn't a living reality, what was all the rola about them? Why was it all a rola? Because if Hazur alayhi salatu wasalam said that I had a dream, I had a dream that I went from Masjid al-Haram, Masjid al-Sidratul Muntaha, al-Maqam, then why would anyone dispute it? Why would people become kufr? Ye bari baat hai. They would believe that. They would say, no problems, it's a dream. It happened. Alhamdulillah, we accept that. Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They would say that, wouldn't they? What was all the rola about? Why do you think Abu Jahl was making such a mock? Why do you think he was making so much fun? And when he got all the people from Kufari Makkah, he gathered all the Kufari Makkah, and they all came before him, and he said to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, now tell them, in front of the Quraysh, a big show. And when Hazur alayhi salatu wasalam had narrated what happened on the night, you know what they did? You know how they responded? They began to laugh. They began to fall on each other. They began to clap. Kuffar Makkah, they were making fun of Hazur Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And Abu Jahl, astaghfirullah, na'udhu billah, he wanted to prove that Hazur alayhi salatu wasalam, astaghfirullah, was somebody who was insane. That's what he wanted to prove. That was his objective. Because he didn't want people to follow Islam. He wanted to prove this, but this was falsified, and I'll explain to you why. Hazur alayhi salatu wasalam, first thing the people said, that according to them, Hazur alayhi salatu wasalam had never ever been to see Masjid al-Aqsa in Jerusalem. He'd never been. So they said, so it's people who were traders who had been there, who had seen Masjid al-Aqsa, they said, explain to us what Masjid al-Aqsa looks like. And before the Mubarak eyes of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah Rabbul Alameen presented Masjid al-Aqsa. Hazur alayhi salatu, according to Rawayat, mein lambi nahi karta baat. Mukhtasar karta hu baat. Hazur alayhi salatu wasalam explained Masjid al-Aqsa brick by brick, window by window. Let me ask you a question. If I asked you right now, how many windows on your house that you live in, that you see every single day? You wouldn't know, right? You'd have to count it. There's 1, 2, 3 in the front. You'd have to count it, right? This is the Shah of Muhammad Rasulullah. And the people, the traders who were there from the Kufar in Makkah, they said his report is 100% accurate. Subhanallah. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Dusri baat, maze ki baat. Hazur alayhi salatu wa salam, he said, you know, when I was returning, because the Prophet ﷺ returned in the same way as he went, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, according to the ulama. And so when he was returning, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, on his way, when he was on the Buraq, he's seen a caravan. He's seen a caravan. In that caravan, he noticed those people, there was loads of camels, and they had saman with them, and they had stuff and stock with them. You know, he's seen the whole order. And he's seen that they had lost one of their camels. So Hazur alayhi salatu wasalam shouted, Hazur ni itlaki, and he shouted them, he goes, there's your camel, go and collect it. And he said to the people, he said, before I came to Makkah, close to Makkah, there was a caravan. And this caravan, they had lost their camel. And I had told them where their camel was. Not only that, Hazur alayhi salatu wasalam explained the order of the caravan. The procession. He said this camel and there was this many people and this is what they looked like and this is what they... Not only that, Hazur alayhi salatu wasalam said, I stopped by that caravan, I took a certain container of their water and I drank from that container. I drank from that container. So you know what the people of the Quraysh did? They said, send some people before the caravan arrives. Send some people, go find that caravan and go and ask them about this. You know when they went there, they asked the people and then they returned. And they said, we asked the caravan. And they said that when we were returning, yes, we had lost our camel. A voice that came, but we didn't know where it was coming from. And this voice guided us and told us where the camel was. And he said the explanation of Muhammad Arabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam as to how the caravan looked, which order it was, which kind of camels they had, what kind of saman and stuff and stock they had on it. And then we asked them about the water container, and they said, indeed, some water is missing from this container. Well, why couldn't they see him? But Rasulullah was traveling on the Buraq, you see. The human eye couldn't perceive the power and the speed of the Buraq. All these things indicate and they specify that the Miraj Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wasallam was a living reality. Was a living reality. The ulama say, why did people commit kufr if it was a dream? It was a reality. And every single stop of the Prophet, all the descriptions of the Miraj, all the ahadith. And by the way, all the muhaddithun, Imam Bukhari, Imam Muslim, Imam Tirmidhi, Imam An-Nasai, every single, from the Sahih Sitta, they all have chapters of hadith on Miraj Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And for example, Imam Bukhari, he has a chapter of Miraj. Imam Muslim has a chapter of Israa. They all write it. And Imam Ibn Kathir, Tafsir Ibn Kathir, in his tafsir, he's written 15 pages on Miraj Mustafa. And he's collected all the hadith sahih in this respect. He's collected all the hadith sahih in this respect. And this is the shan of Miraj Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Think about it. What was the role all about? If it was a dream, why would there have been all this trouble then? Why would it? There was 45 Sahaba of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam who narrated about Miraj Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam. From all of them, they were Madani Sahaba. But for the people of Ahl Ilm, I will tell you that Abu Dar al-Ghafari, rahimahullah ta'ala, radiyallahu ta'ala, he was that Makki Sahaba who narrated about Miraj Mustafa sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam. He narrated about Miraj Mustafa sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam. I'd just like to, inshallah, in my closing comments, say one or two things, inshallah ta'ala aziz. कुछ बात अकायद की और कुछ बात मोहब्बत की, अगर इजाज़त हो मौलाना, क्योंकि जब तक मोहब्बत की बात ना हो, बात बनती नहीं. A point on Aqeeda. I mentioned about Hazrat Musa Kalimullah alayhi salam. जब तक रहा मेरे हाथों में मेरे मुस्तफा का दामन, पाँव चूमती थी मेरी ये गर्दिशे ज़माने, पाँव चूमती थी मेरी ये गर्दिशे ज़माने. Hold on to दामन Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Watch, nobody on this earth will be able to rock you again. Hold tight to दामन Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then see the barakah in your life. Then see the barakah in your life. And I say this to you, Musa Kalimullah alayhi salam, on the night of Miraj Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I won't go into detail. I'll come to my detail. My point. Hazur alayhi salatu wasalam, when he returns from the celestial place of La Maqam and he meets with Allah Rabbul Alameen. When he meets with Allah and he returns and he comes with the gift of 50 salah, he meets Musa alayhi salatu wasalam. What did Musa alayhi salam say to him? He said to him, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he had the second largest nation after the Ummah of Rasulullah. According to the ulama, the largest ummah was the ummah of Bani Israel after the Ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that belonged to Hazrat Musa alayhi salam. Hazrat Musa said, Ya Rasulullah, I have experience with these people. Ya Rasulullah, your ummah won't be able to do 50 salah a day. They won't be able to do 50. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for a reduction. And you know this madad that Hazrat Musa alayhi salatu wasalam was doing, even this was in the Quran Kareem. Why? Because Allah Rabbul Alameen, He says, وَإِذَا أَخَذَ اللَّهُ مِيثَاقَ النَّبِيِّينَ
Subhanallah. Subhanallah.
Do you remember when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He gathered the souls of all the prophets and He took a mithaq from them, a promise from them. He took an oath from them. And what did I cut the discussion short. I come to the point in the verse. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to the prophets, He said, لَا تُؤْمِنُنَّ بِهِ وَلَا تَنْصُرُنَّ. You must believe in Him. Halake ye lam ta'keed hai or noon sakila. You know what it means? It doesn't mean you must believe in Him, you must help Him. It means you absolutely must believe in Him. You absolutely must help Him. Rasulullah ki baat ho rahi hai. Allah gathered all the prophets, all the big jalsa. This was in Alam Arwah, the land of the souls. Allah gathered the prophets and He said to them all, He said, "La tu'minunna bihi wa la tansurunna." You must help Him, you must believe in Him. What was Hazrat Musa Kalimullah alayhi salam doing here? He was helping Rasulullah's ummah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He said, Ya Rasulullah, this is too much for them. Please reduce this. And you know what happens? Then Hazrat alayhi salatu wasalam comes and he goes and he comes and he goes and he comes and until he comes to 5 salah. सोचने वाली ये बात है that you know if you were invited, you were the guest of honor, you were invited to Buckingham Palace to see the Queen, bड़ी protocol के साथ, you would be received. There would be security, they would check you, they would make sure there was nothing on you which was dangerous before you meet Her Majesty the Queen, right? And when you go in there, there'll be lots of protocol and security and all the rest of it. But when you leave Buckingham Palace, do you think आपकी मर्जी के साथ you can just go back inside and see her again? You was called once. You were called once. Hazur alayhi salatu wasalam, he was coming and going. Aate jate rahe. Ghar ki baat thi. Ghar ki baat thi. And look at this. Let me ask you this question. Ghar ki baat thi. Hazur alayhi salatu wasalam felt comfortable going to Allah Rabbul Alameen. Allah received Mahbub sallallahu alayhi wa sallam every single time. Allah didn't reject his request every single time. What do we learn about this? What do we understand from this? Ghar ki baat thi. Ghar ki baat thi. This was the relationship between Allah Rabbul Alameen and Hazur alayhi salatu wassalam. And you know something? Do you think Allah didn't know 50 was going to go down to 5? Of course Allah knew this. Allah could have told him right at the start, Ya Rasulullah, Musa's going to have to go at you. He's going to say, he's going to speak to you, not have a go at you, but he's going to speak to you and he's going to try and reason. And he says, Ya Rasulullah, reduce it for the sake of your ummah, out of adab and respect. But Hazur alayhi salatu wassalam, Allah already knew this. Allah already had ilm of this. But Allah allows his coming and going and coming and going. Muhabbat ki baat hai. Muhabbat ki baat hai. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loved the coming and going. And the ziyarat of Hazur Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. This was the ziyarah of Mustafa alayhi salatu wa sallam that was happening. And let me tell you something. Hazrat Musa alayhi salatu wa sallam, according to them, you know what I'm talking about. Hazrat Musa alayhi salam has left this world. He is in Alam-e-Barzakh. He was in his, and he's somebody considered to be person of the grave. We know Aqeeda Ahl Sunnah, prophets of Allah are alive. They're alive. Zinda hai wo. But tell me something. 50 salah went to 5 salah based on the wasila of a person from the grave. Based on the wasila from a person. And it wasn't just any old person. This was Musa Kalimullah alayhi salam. On the wasila of the person of the grave. I don't go into detail about this, but let me tell you this. And let me give you the knockout on this. Anybody who rejects wasila, and anybody who rejects taking help from people of the grave, tell them read 50 salah then.
50 salahs. Wow.
Read 50 salah then, because this was also a wasila of Musa Kalimullah alayhi salam. And he is somebody who they consider to be person of the grave and who's passed away, astaghfirullah, na'uzubillah. You know what they say, right? But Musa alayhi salam we believe is alive. Prophets of Allah are alive, and it was on his wasila that the 50 salahs were taken down to 5 salahs. Taken down to 5 salahs. I say this to you as a thing of muhabbat. When Hazur alayhi salatu was salam, when he goes to Allah Rabbul Alameen, you know something? Allah could have seen Rasulullah anywhere. He could have seen him on the earth. He's seen Hazrat Musa alayhi salam bil Wadi Muqaddas. He's seen him and he manifested himself kama shanuhu, in accordance with his shan through the burning bush, right? And he spoke to Musa Kalimullah. He heard him with his physical ear. He heard Allah Rabbul Alameen, whatever that shan is, kama shanuhu, we don't know. But this was a blessing for Hazrat Musa Kalimullah alayhi salam. Right? He heard him with his fist. Allah could have seen Rasulullah anyway. Allah could have done wahi on Rasulullah anyway. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. But no, Allah wanted Rasulullah to come to a place where creation didn't exist. Universe didn't exist. Nobody had ever been before. This was khususiyat and muhabbat of Muhammad Mustafa. Allah wanted to do khususiyat for Hazur alayhi salatu wasalam. وَقَالَ قَابَ قَوْسَيْنِ أَوْ أَدْنَى. Allah says in the Quran. And when they came in proximity, even Jibreel Amin alayhi salatu wasalam, even he couldn't go past this point of La Maqam. He was the Saddar of the angels. He was a Nuri angel. But he said, Ya Rasulullah, if I go past this point, I'm scared my whole wujud will burn. My whole wujud will burn. Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Nabi Kareem alayhi salam, Noor Muhammadi, Ruh Muhammadi, Bashariyat Muhammadi. He comes and he comes before in the majesty of Allah Rabbul Alameen. Allah says in the Quran, وَقَالَ قَابَ قَوْسَيْنِ أَوْ أَدْنَى. The proximity between Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And at that point Allah says something in the Quran. Subhanallah. وَأَوْهَا إِلَىٰ عَبْدِهِ مَا أَوْهَا. Allah says, and we did wahi upon him, whatever we did. Subhanallah. You know what that's like saying? Shall I tell you something? आपके दोस्त बैठे हुए and एक आप खास दोस्त को कहते हैं आप मेरे साथ आए, and you go in the room with him, बड़ी बातें करके बाहर आते हैं, and then you say to the rest of your friends, यार हमने बड़ी राज की बातें की, लेकिन जो बातें हमने की ना वो बस मैं जाने और ये जाने, आपकी बात नहीं है. Why would you say that? Because you're showing the extra special relationship between you and your khas yar. You're showing extra special. Why would Allah say, we talked with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whatever we did, it's none of your business. Allah is saying it's none of your business. I'm not telling you. None of you know this. Only me and Mustafa alayhi salam know this. Why did someone might say, why did Allah put this in the Quran Kareem? If it's none of our business, why did Allah have to write that in the Quran Kareem? Because Allah wanted us to know until the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah. Oh my people, know this. My relationship with Rasulullah is very special. We had secrets which we spoke about, which you will never know about. It's none of your business. Allah wanted to show khususiyat between him and Hazur alayhi salatu wasalam. Allah wanted to show khususiyat. And this was in complete proximity. One final hadith, and I finish on this and I take ijazat inshallah aziz. Hazur alayhi salatu wasalam said, he said when the end time came of the night of Miraj, Hazur alayhi salatu wasalam began to feel very upset. And they began to feel sad. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks His beloved sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Allah knows what is in the heart of His beloved. But Allah still asks him, beloved sallallahu alayhi wasallam, why do you seem upset? Why do you seem reluctant? And you know Hazur alayhi salatu wasalam said, he said, Ya Allah, he said, the celestial heights, the greatness, the barakat, the proximity that I've experienced with you today, I know when I return, this same proximity won't be the same. I'll never experience this in this time again. He says to Allah Rabbul Alameen. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to Hazur alayhi salatu wa salam, they said, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when you return to the dunya, whenever you wish to enter Miraj again, you wish to do Miraj again, say Allahu Akbar and enter Salah. Say Allahu Akbar and enter Salah. The ulama say, imagine the Salah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. When he entered Salah, this was a state of Miraj for Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said to us, he said, As-salatu mi'raju mu'mineen. He said, the Salah is the Miraj for the mu'min. When we read Salah, this is like Miraj for us. We're doing Miraj of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is our communication and relationship with Allah Rabbul Alameen. The ulama say, imagine the relationship with Hazur alayhi salatu wasalam. When he prayed namaz, imagine the concentration, imagine the devotion, and imagine the deepness, the gahriyat of Hazur alayhi salatu wasalam's love in the ocean of Allah Rabbul Alameen. Can you imagine the salah of Hazur alayhi salatu wasalam? May Allah Rabbul Alameen give us the ability and facility to remember these events, to follow the true Aqeeda of the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, and understand Miraj Mustafa the way Allah wanted to understand it from the Quran and the Hadith of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. Please forgive me if I made any mistakes. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ.
बहुत अच्छा, माशाअल्लाह, सुभान अल्लाह.